Okay, so for people who actually know me, know that when it comes to Batman, I can be very, very critical because he is my all-time favorite character. To me, the best live-action Batman was Michael Keaton, and a whole hell of a lot of people, I'm sure, will argue and possibly even kill me to to say that Christian Bale was the best Batman, with George Clooney being the worst, and I think we can all agree on that one. I'm also one of the few that actually enjoyed Ben Affleck as Batman. I thought he did a great job. He fought like Batman. He acted like him. For me, he was Batman, though Michael Keaton is still better. So when Warner Brothers kicked him out and cast Robert Pattinson, whew, oh boy, I'm not sure where I was landing on it, because he is best known for playing a sparkling douchebag vampire in the Twilight series. But since then, he has proven to be quite the actor. I saw him in The Lighthouse with Willem Dafoe. Blew me away. The entire movie blew me away. It's a great film. So that put me a little at ease with his casting as Batman. Now, after multiple delays, thanks to fucking COVID, it finally hit theaters last week, and I did watch it, but I went away after I watched it, so I'm only getting to the review now, which at the same time is good because it gave me a lot of time to process what I had seen. And there is a lot to process. It is a almost 3-hour movie, and they pack a whole hell of a lot into the film. Now, the beginning of the movie overall, I feel like it does drag. But once the Batman really starts to get going, the movie gets a little more fast-paced, a lot more going on, and a lot of craziness. Robert Pattinson was actually a fantastic Batman. His Bruce Wayne was a little too doom and gloom. I thought he was a little too negative, which, I mean, Batman is he's a pessimist. He's a negative person. But I felt Pattinson played him a little too negative. But his Batman was great. It was weird seeing him just walk right into crime scenes, though depending on which era of Batman from the comics, it's not completely unheard of. Speaking of crime scenes, Jeffrey Wright, I think that was his name, I apologize if it isn't, Commissioner Gordon. I honestly don't know how I feel about the portrayal of Commissioner Gordon, because it was a little too, to me, it was a little too out there. You know, he relied too much on Batman, which, depending on which era of comics you read, sometimes Gordon is a little too reliant on Batman, but at the end of the day, Gordon is a by-the-book, good cop. Zoe Kravis was an absolutely amazing Catwoman. I thought she did absolutely fantastic, and it's a bit of a shame to hear that she lost the role in The Dark Knight Rises to Anne Hathaway just because of the color of her skin. You know, I mean, Catwoman, she's not black in the comics, but a black Catwoman is not entirely unheard of. Eartha Kitt, and you know what? Kravitz was so much better than Anne Hathaway as Selina Kyle Catwoman. The dynamic between Batman and Catwoman was very cat and mouse, which was great. That's how it is in the comics. There's hints of possible romance, which was teased for years in the comics before they finally kind of got married. And then there's Paul Dano's Riddler. When they cast Dano, I was actually quite excited because Dano is a fantastic actor, but how they were portraying him in the trailers, it's like, Riddler is not a Saw-like villain. It was really weird. But the way he's portrayed in the movie as a whole, I thought Dano did very, very well. While he's not going to go down in history as the greatest portrayal of a Batman villain on screen, but he did great with what he had. And you know what? He pulled out something genuinely creepy, which is not something associated with the Riddler in the comics. So at the end of the day, I'm actually overall pretty happy with the portrayal. John Turturro as Carmine Falcone, though an overall short role, and he is unfortunately killed in the end. You know, Turturro I thought was a great Falcone. He played him, I thought, to a T compared to the comic, so fantastic casting there. I feel like I've used the word fantastic quite a bit. For me, though, I felt the person who stole the show overall was Colin Farrell's Oswald Cobblepot / the Penguin, or in this movie he goes by Oz. He also goes by the Penguin. But, you know, it's weird seeing Colin Farrell like covered in layers of makeup to look like the Penguin, and you do not recognize that it's Colin Farrell, which I think is actually a great choice because, you know, the Penguin's not a pretty guy. He is always portrayed as short, ugly, pointy nose, though he didn't have the pointy nose here, which is fine, absolutely fine, but he's not pretty. And Colin Farrell is an overall good-looking dude, or at least he was. I don't even know what he looks like nowadays. I don't really care. So if they just had Colin Farrell there without makeup, it'd be like, that's not the Penguin. So I'm actually very glad that he is getting a spin-off series on HBO Max about his rise as the top crime boss in Gotham. He's gonna fucking kill it. And speaking of Gotham, I think this is the closest we've got to an accurate portrayal of Gotham City in the films. See, Tim Burton's Batman and Batman Returns, it was dark, it was gloomy, but it wasn't depressing. Joel Schumacher's Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, I don't know what the fuck they turned Gotham City into, but that was not Gotham City. Christopher Nolan's films, I mean, we saw a lot of Gotham during the day, which is weird because we don't really see Gotham during the day in the comics very often. So I feel like it wasn't a proper portrayal. And in the Snyderverse, we didn't really get enough of Gotham City to properly judge. But in the Reeves movie, the Reeves universe, because this is clearly going to be its own Earth. It's an Elseworlds movie, which means it takes place outside the main continuity. For those that don't know what Elseworlds is. Gotham is dark, it's gloomy, it's depressing, it's raining all the time, and just shit is happening. Crime is constantly happening, and that, to me, is Gotham City. Now, the movie, as I've said in the beginning, and as you probably already know because it's been out for a week, it's close to 3 hours long, which can drag at times. But when there is action, it is fan-fucking-tastic. I added the word fucking in there just to change it up. The fight scenes are well choreographed. The car chases are exhilarating. And the ending, where they kind of turn Gotham into no man's land, though I can't really see them doing that in the sequel because it seems really way too early in Batman's career for No Man's Land. But the ending was thrilling. It was exciting. There was a lot going on. Was Batman going to save people? There was a lot going on, and it was just cool. But at the end of the day, and I'm sure people have brought this up before, the Riddler won. He killed who he set out to kill. He flooded Gotham, turning it into a pseudo no man's land from the comics. And yes, he is locked up in Arkham Asylum now, but he won. And for a Batman villain to win in a Batman movie, let's be honest, that's unheard of. So I give Reeves and company credit for that. So overall, really the only negative thing I have to say about the Batman was its overall runtime of close to 3 hours. Because, again, it can drag at times. But there is so much they packed into this movie, including that cameo towards the end in Arkham Asylum, played by Barry, whatever the fuck you say his last name, the guy that was in that shit, horrible movie, The Eternals. Yes, I fucking hated that movie. It was horrible. You're not going to change my mind. He wasn't named. We don't know who he is. But from the tone of his voice, from his laugh, he's very clearly going to be the Joker. So it'll be interesting to see how Matt Reeves portrays a Joker in his particular universe. So in the end, You know what? The Batman exceeded my expectations. I'm giving it an A. Did you enjoy the review? Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to get notified when more reviews go live. Feel free to leave a comment to discuss your thoughts on the movie or show, and I will see you next time.